the financial statements for the Executive Receiver of Revenue and County Revenue Fund for the financial year 2024-2025. Could I get a proposer from the members?
I propose, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Dulo. Seconder?
Chair, I second.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. Very quickly, let's go on record, starting with the members of the Senate.
Atumadulo, member.
Senator Mwaruma, Taita Taveta, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. My Governor, this is Senator Mwenda WatchTharaka Nithi, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Chair and the Governor and the team from Tharaka Nithi. My name is Edwin Sifuna, Senator Nairobi. I'm a member of this committee.
Through the Chair, Cherargei Protich is my name, Senator of the Republic of Kenya, representing the great people of Nandi County and a member.
You're welcome, Senators. I'm Moses Otieno Kajwang, Senator from Homa Bay. I chair the committee. The clerk supporting us?
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My name is Chris Pastima, Committee Clerk.
Angonyi Deputy Committee Clerk.
Annette Haila, Research Officer.
Michelle Otoroliwa Council.
Charlie Msimbi, Hansard Officer. Our Abdi Sergeant at Arms.
I think that's all from us, Chairman.
Okay, you're welcome. We go to the Office of the Auditor General.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. I'm Muriki Patrick, the liaison officer. Chair, we have our team from our Embu regional office. Embu now audits Tharaka Nithi, Embu, and Kitui. But today they are here for Tharaka Nithi. With their permission, they'll come on record.
Proceed.
My name is Boniface Ongwen, Deputy Director of Audit, Office of the Auditor General, Embu Regional Office.
My name is Daniel Sikobe, Principal Auditor, Embu Regional Office.
That's all, Chairman.
Karibuni, Control of Budget.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Joseph Wambua, representing Control of Budget.
Karibu COB. We had the National Treasury earlier in the day.
She stepped out.
Okay, I think she'll be joining us, as well as EACC and ISPAC. Did we invite the County Assembly of Tharaka Nithi, Clerk?
Yes, Chairman, we invited, but we have no any communication from them.
Okay, so we go to the Governor, Tharaka Nithi. Please go on record.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Mudhomi Juki, Governor of Tharaka Nithi, and I'm accompanied by a lean team, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves, starting with my left.
Okay, your name and your designation.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Lawrence Rwelia. This is in charge of Finance and Economic Planning, Tharaka Nithi County.
Good afternoon. My name is Kinyua Kabinga, Chief Officer Finance and Economic Planning, Tharaka Nithi County.
My name is Moses Bud, Receiver of Revenue.
Good afternoon, CPR Agent Duati, Director Accounting Services.
Lawrence Kaburu, Director of the Revenue.
Kennedy Mureithi, Advisor to the Governor.
Has everyone gone on record?
Yes, Chair. Everyone is gone on record, and thank you. Back to you.
Okay, so next order is administration of oath and tabling of documents.
I, Onesmus Mudhomi Juki, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Honorable Chair and Senators, I am tabling documents for the management response and accompanying annexes on the report of the Auditor General on County Executive of the Tharaka Nithi for the year 2024-2025. I'll also table the management response and accompanying annexes on the report of the Auditor General on the Receiver of Revenue statements for the County Executive of the Tharaka Nithi for the year 2024-2025. Additionally, Honorable Chair, I will table the management response and company annexures on the report of the Auditor General on the county revenue fund for the county executive of Tharaka Nithi for the year 2024-2025. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Auditor General, have you reviewed the responses and are we ready to proceed?
Honorable Chair, we did receive the responses, but as we speak, we have an audit team on the ground. A number of issues as responded to are being reviewed right now. So we are not yet through with the review. We'll get there when the audit exercise is over. Thanks, Chair.
Are we ready or not?
We're ready.
Okay.
Yes,
Clerk of the Senate, are we ready?
Yes, Chairman, we received the responses in time.
Okay. If that is the case, we'll deal with a few preliminary issues. Governor, on the 31st of March 2026, the Senate made a resolution on the report of this committee with regards to the Auditor General's report on Tharaka Nithi County. The first resolution, the House adopted the report of the Auditor General as is, because the Governor, Tharaka Nithi, did not appear before this committee to explain mitigation or measures taken to close the issues raised by the Auditor General. Number two, the Senate resolved to impose a personal fine of 500,000 Kenya shillings on the Governor for failure to appear before this committee via summons on the 30th of March. And thirdly, the Senate resolved to invite the Governor to appear before this committee to provide an update on measures taken to implement the recommendations of the House. I want to find out from the clerk whether on the matter of fine that has been settled.
Honorable Chairman, the matter has not been settled. The Governor has not paid the fine.
So, Governor, that was the resolution of the House, not just this committee, but the Senate sitting in plenary on the 31st of March, pursuant to a constitutional responsibility that required us to make a decision or to consider the audit reports within 90 days. If the fine, is it a statement of fact that the fine you have not paid the fine, the personal fine?
Honorable Chair, first of all, I want to thank the Senate because of that communication that may have eluded my attention, and I was made aware just a few minutes ago. I was supposed to have paid a personal fine of 500,000, and my response is as follows, Chair. One, I have no objection to paying the fine, and I will do so at early as possible opportunity once I leave here. As to whether or not, Chair, you'll allow me to pay the fine later, I would plead with you that it is normal for people to have debts. So consider that as a short duration, or rather just a soft, I don't want to say a soft loan, but hours. Then I'll settle it.
Clerk, what was the wording of our letter, our communication to the county? Because I believe that that resolution was formally conveyed to the Governor.
Chair,
it being a personal fine.
Indicated the date. When was it communicated and received by the Governor?
Honorable Chairman, the letter inviting the Governor to appear before the committee on 28th May, Thursday 28th May at 10 a.m., amongst other issues, on the issue of the fine, and I can read that paragraph with your indulgence, Chairman. That is paragraph number 5. That is in accordance with the resolution of the Senate and pursuant to Section 19 of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6 of the Laws of Kenya, the Governor of the Tharaka Nithi County is required to pay a fine of 500,000 Kenya shillings in his personal capacity by way of a banker's check issued in favor of Senate before the date of appearance and to present evidence of the payment to the committee. And the date of appearance in reference to this letter is 28th May.
So it was quite clear that that was condition precedent to this appearance. Now, members, I will need to get your comments. There are procedural matters here. There are serious matters of procedure that we must address ourselves to. And then there's also the issue of the public interest, whether we can get into a substantive conversation or terminate at a procedural conversation. But I need to get your views on this. Senator Chirarke.
Chair, you know, I agree with you. This is torn between procedure and the substance or substantive processes. Because, Chair, you know this, and the governor is a former parliamentarian, you know we enjoy the status of the High Court. And naturally, this was an order. And you know, Chair, if you don't follow the order of the court, it comes down to the contempt of the proceedings. While, Governor, you know, while I notice you have people who work for you, county secretary and others, it is unfair to all of us that you just forgot. And you know, and you have said it's just a small debt. I don't know how big or small, but the point I'm trying to make is, I wish there are more substantive reasoning as to why you didn't comply with that order, because the upshot of that, Chair, is that when you don't comply with an order, you should be ready for consequences. So I wondered when you are replying whether you are ready for consequences. And finally, Chair, looking at these matters, and since we said in the resolution of the House that 21 counties who had not appeared before we went to the resolution of the House, was that we give them a chance to reappear in the principle and spirit of substantive and principles of natural justice. Although the report was adopted, it's just followed the implementation. So, Chair, looking at the people of Tharaka Nithi, just like any other Kenyans, would really want to know what happened to their money, how was it used, was it accounted for? So, in my own opinion, we can undertake that the governor pays the fine, but we proceed with the substantive meetings so that we look into the main issues, because I know the people of Tharaka would be interested to know what happened to their money. While we agree these are procedural matters that must be respected, but Chair, I plead, we review, we can, you know, even in other processes, we can allow the request by the governor to be active. Of course, you give directions on what will happen, but proceed with the substantive meeting and test one or two issues so that the people of Tharaka can also know where their resources are and whether it was used prudently as per the Constitution. I yield back the Chair.
Thank you, Senator Chirarge. Senator Sifuna.
You know, Chair, I'm usually a stickler for the rules of this House, that rules are rules and they have to be followed. But in my own experience as a senator on this committee, I'm becoming extremely exasperated by the conduct of the governor of Tharaka Nithi. Every single time he appears before this committee, he seems to have forgotten something. At least today I've seen he's come with his glasses. And I was hoping that we would have a meeting. Then he's telling us he forgot to pay a fine. I really don't know if these are honest excuses, Governor, or that they are always a ploy to try and avoid us having a meeting. Today I've dedicated this afternoon to you because, you know, you've been saying a lot of things out there. But we will not go into those things that you've been saying out there. We want to see the numbers. We just want to go to the substance. And, you know, I have a lot of friends in Tharaka. They have really been waiting for this meeting. They have sent me a whole dossiers here. The whole night, they are just saying, ask him about this one and this one and this one. So, for me, Chair, I am sure the people of Tharaka will forgive me if today I don't insist on the rules and say whether he has paid or not. We proceed with this meeting because they would like to have a conversation about the utilization of the resources of Tharaka. So, and this should not form any precedent, Senator Chirarge, for me personally, as I said, a stickler for the rules of the House. But I think we are in a very special circumstance, Chair, because we are now in year 4 of this Senate. I don't remember, I think we've only had a substantive conversation with Tharaka once. So if I say we turn a blind eye, so to speak, to that forgetfulness to pay the fine, please don't put me in the headlines that sometimes Sifuna can bend the rules. These are very special circumstances because we need to have this conversation with the executive of Tharaka.
Thank you. Senator Amuruma.
Chair, thank you. The Senate made a resolution to fine governors. If the governor of Tharaka Nithi didn't come, then it would have attracted further sanctions. But the governor is here. Now he is requesting that he pays later. And I'm looking at the line of thinking of Senator Chargi and Senator for Nairobi, that we might allow so that we have conversation. But Chair, you must really navigate on how to deal with the precedents. You know, that we have allowed Tharaka Nithi to go, then the others who come, how would you deal with them? Number 2, assuming you give him a timeline of maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, if he doesn't pay, then again, what would be the recourse? So we have to really balance. So for me, because we really want to look at the numbers, you must really navigate and maybe prescribe the sanctions that will follow if the governor for the Tharaka Nithi does not then honor payment of the fine in a prescribed timeline. Thank you, Chair.
Senator.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think both matters are very, very, very crucial to us, both the fine and the matters before us. I have captured the governor talk of having this matter escaped his attention. I have also captured the governor say that he is not objecting to paying the fine, and maybe he can pay in the next 1 hour or so. I think, Chair, I don't know whether this is a matter that is supposed to be prosecuted, because we have very substantive matters around before us, Chair. That matter touches on the expenditure of the money that we have to go to counties. I think we can also explore the possibility of giving that benefit of doubt to the governor, now that he has confessed that the matter escaped his attention. Maybe in the next 1 hour or so, if he commits to pay, then we are done, and so that we can proceed with what is susceptible before us.
Okay, Senator Dula.
What does that mean? Chair, number 1, I have a preliminary issue that I want to raise with the governor. Because every time he appears, it looks like there are no other genders in his county. He's always appearing with a club of men. Because it is important also for ladies to come and learn what is happening in this Senate. I'm sure some of them are holding executive positions. Number 2, we've never set a precedent where a fine has not been paid and the governor appears without paying. And I hope, Chair, this should not continue because we have timelines within which we should complete our report. So if you close your eyes on Governor for Tharaka Nithi today, somebody else will come back and say, the other day you have agreed to proceed with Governor for Tharaka Nithi, why not me? So I think, as Senator Sifuna says, it's important to follow procedures and also orders given by this House. So I believe we should be able to do something today. I thank you.
Okay, members, I think I hear 2 different schools of thought that we should stick to the procedure, and another school of thought that we should go to the substance of the reports that are before us. And we sit here with the powers of the High Court. Yesterday we had a similar scenario where the governor for Baringo had not paid the fine. And we took the position and the decisions that are taken in court that if you fail to pay a fine prescribed by the court will not grant you audience. And we did not grant the governor for Baringo audience until he settled the fine. We are in a similar situation here with Tharaka Nithi. And we made that decision just yesterday. Now, under what circumstances would we vary the decision that we made yesterday? When will we ever have an opportunity to get into the substance of matters in Tharaka Nithi? Considering that the audit for 2025-2026 has commenced, and as the Auditor General was saying, they are already on the ground. What if a governor decided to use the non-payment of the fine as a reason not to appear before the committee, knowing that when you don't pay the fine, the committee will not grant you audience? And so the governor decides he will not pay and he will not appear before the committee. That's also the flip side of a strict interpretation of the procedures. I've heard the governor say that he is not opposed to the fine. I've heard him say that it was some element of, I would say, negligence on his part for not paying the fine. Despite the decision that we made yesterday, I want to urge the committee that we balance the procedural and the substantive angles to this matter. But I want the clerks also to do very clear communication to all the other governors, because in our letter, that fine ought to have been paid within a period of 2 weeks, isn't it, from the receipt of that letter, such that even if the governor would have paid the fine this morning, he would still be in breach of our directions. So I'll probably urge senators that on this matter, for us to deal with the substantive issues in Tharaka Nithi, we direct the fine has not been waived, the fine still stands, and we will give directions. I don't know, Governor, how long would it take you to pay the fine? Because it's not a matter of, how long would it take you now that you have said it's something that you're willing to settle? A day?
Chair, I will pay by next week.
Next week, we're already on Thursday. I think let the record be clear that the fine has not been waived. Let the record be clear that the ideal position would have been to deny you audience. But we are also conscious that if we went that direction, then we'll end up with a situation where governors are not paying the fines, knowing when they come to the Senate, they'll not be given audience. So as to the consequences of non-payment of the fine, I think we discussed that yesterday. Our legal counsel took us through the consequences. We shall follow those ones. It will be a parallel matter that we'll be following up to ensure that there is enforcement of that resolution. For now, members, I want to request that we touch on one or two substantive issues in this report, and probably if a few matters remain, we can consider them later once the governor has paid the fine. I don't know whether that's agreeable. Yes, and let it be known, and clerks, please remind the other entities that the fine should have been paid within the timelines in our letter, so that we don't find ourselves in this situation again. Because if we found ourselves in this situation again, it would be unfortunate. But also we look at the other angle that people might want to use that route to avoid accountability. So let's get into the real work. Let's go into the substantive matters. Auditor General, what was your opinion on the executive?
It was a qualified opinion, Chair.
Okay, because of issues of limitations of time, we will pick a few issues that we can must deal with here. Whatever remains, we shall deal with once the governor has paid the fine. And if there is any other matter that can't be dealt with, it will be dealt with in the next audit cycle. We want to start with a look at long outstanding trade and other payables. Auditor General, you had flagged that under lawfulness and effectiveness in use of public resources. they are tied. There's one matter under financial statements and reconciled variance in trade account payables, and then there's another matter under lawfulness, long outstanding trade and other payables. It's more or less the same thing.
Chair, and also if there is on number 3 and reconcile variance in trade accountable payables, that's number 3 on basis.
Yes.
And also it's related to unaccounted for contractors retention money, because it looks the same in terms of financial statements that is being reflected.
Okay, those two are separate because these are what we usually call pending bills. Okay. I think it's separate from retention. But let's start with the pending bills, and then we can go to that one because they follow each other in the notes to the financial statements.
Okay.
So, Auditor, please read read your statement on long outstanding trade and other payables so that we deal with that, the 882 million.
Honorable Chair, this is a report of the Auditor General on the County Executive of Tharaka Nithi for the year ended 30th June 2025, which received a qualified opinion. This is number 12 under lawfulness. The title is Long Outstanding Trade and Other Payables. The statement of financial position reflects trade accounts payables balance of Kenya shillings 882,571,678 as disclosed in note 16 to the financial statements. Review of the trade accounts payables balance reveals that payables balance of Kenya shillings 150,504,534 had been outstanding for more than 4 years. Management has not provided explanation on why the long outstanding trade payables have not been settled in the year to which the expenses were incurred or subsequent financial years. This was contrary to Section 53(8) of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act 2015, which states that an accounting officer shall not commence any procurement proceedings until satisfied that sufficient funds to meet the obligations of the resulting contracts are reflected in approved budget estimates. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law.
Governor, what's your response?
Thank you, Chair. The management takes note of the audit findings.
Just a bit slowly because we have skipped a few issues. Just tell us the page number. Page number. What page number are you reading from, Governor?
Chair, I do not know that we are using the same document with you, but from where I sit, it's page 20.
Yeah, it definitely, it has to be the same document. So, yeah, please proceed. We are on page 20.
The management takes note of the audit findings on the long outstanding account payables and confirms that the management commitment of clearing all account payables with a priority on those that remained outstanding over the long time. During the current year, Chair, the county has settled pending bills amounting to Kenya shillings 502,567,603, with a balance of 380,000 and 4,075 planned to be paid in the financial year 2026-2027. Chair.
Now, that's a very brief statement. I think let's turn our attention to note 16 that the Auditor General has cited of the financial statements.
16.
That gives us a picture on the makeup and age of that debt. You probably might want to help us understand, Governor, why you owe staff 205 million in the year under review. What is the breakdown of these staff salaries and wages of 205,935,531? Yes, Governor?
Chair, if the debt we are talking about of 205,935.31 is owed to staff, I believe by now most of it should have been paid. It cannot definitely be salaries unless where we were ending the year, and what happens, Chair, is the salary for June most of the time. And if I look at this is about the amount of salary we pay per month. So the salary for the month of June, because of late exchequer release, is usually paid in the early July, and therefore the accounting cannot be in the previous financial year. That should be the problem, Chair.
Does that fully explain the amount, or there are other things like pensions, gratuities that are owed to staff?
This Chair must be only the basic salary, because the matters of gratuity, allowance to pension, has been addressed in a separate response, Chair.
So, but this is a table that contains all the numbers.
Governor, did I get it right
Senators
that your salary per month is 200 million?
Our salary per month right now is, okay, in 2024.
Yes.
It must have been around 205, thereabout. And this year we are at around 229.
Auditor, is that possible? Because by the time you're doing the audit in which month? How does it show up as a pending bill?
Honorable Chair, starting from the year ended 30th June 2025, the county government, among others, was supposed to adopt accrual basis of accounting. So if they paid salary for the month of June, after 30th June, it becomes a payable as financial statements as at 30th June.
But it is possible to just show that there was late exchequer release, and that can be shown through a bank statement, that there was late exchequer release, and then you give us a schedule of payment of salaries, how that late exchequer release was expended. Can you show us in this response? And
205 million has been questioned by the auditor, and a failure to remit payroll deductions. I think that's where we're going to find answers. So that's why the governor's explanation is not entirely, does not account for the full figure. Maybe for us to get out of this matter of the 205, members, can we allow the auditor just to read what he cited on the 205? Then we'll come back to that schedule.
Thanks, Chair. I will read number 5, failure to remit payroll deductions, which the statement of financial position reflects trade payables balance of 882,571,678 as disclosed in Note 16 to the financial statements, which further includes a balance of Kenya shillings 205,935,531 in respect to accrued salaries and wages. Review of records revealed that long outstanding remittances totaling Kenya shillings 20,693,721 deducted from employees' salaries outstanding for more than 12 months, which were not remitted to local authorities pension trust in bracket LAP trust. This was contrary to section 1945 of the Employment Act 2007, which stipulates that an employer who deducts an amount from an employee's remuneration in accordance with subsection 1A, F, G, and H shall pay the amount so deducted in accordance with the time period and other requirements specified in the law, agreement, court order, or arbitration, as the case may be.
Governor, what was your response on that question on 205 million?
Chair, the management acknowledges having outstanding amount of Kenya shillings 20,693,721 owed to the Local Authority Pension Fund, LAP Trust. This is historical debt incurred by the de facto local authorities, and the county has negotiated a payment plan to settle the debt in installments. During the last financial year, 2025-2026, the county has paid an amount of Kenya shillings 13,981,588 towards reducing the debt. In the current financial year, Chair, of the year 2026-2027, the county has factored in the budget allocation to clear the balance. The payment advice is attached on Annex, that is Annex 5, Chair.
Members, Senator Chirarke.
Chair, Governor, I wish in most of your responses, I'll just ask in two leaves, Chair, because of two questions. In this of 4 years, 150 million, you have given us the global figure of paying pending bill. But you have not answered what the OAG was talking about when you look at note number 16, over 4 years, 150 million, 504, 534, that was supposed to be paid. You have given us a global figure that you have paid the pending bill. In your response, let me just, with your indulgence, Chair, in your response of around, is it 300 and something million? Where is the schedule to show, because we use FIFO, first in, first out, out of this 150 million, where is the schedule to show? Because I can see what you have paid is more than what the OAG was querying. Where is the schedule to show that with this over 4 years, or 150 million you have paid? Because if it belongs to the businessmen and women of Tharaka, I can imagine the pain of waiting for 4 years to have a payment. Even when we were with the Kajiado chair, you saw even they had given us the aging analysis to say this pending bill was for this year, this. So that will be my question one. Where is the schedule to dispense of 150 million? Chair, looking at note number 16, my second question, Governor, there is the aging analysis. Why was there astronomical growth of pending bill under 1 year of 615 million, 472,659 shillings? Can you give us the reason? Because I can see it should be around 70, 50, 60 to 50 to 60% growth within 1 year. So what is the justification? And you have explained very well on the 205 million that because of the late remittances and transiting to the new. So that will be my question. Number two, why was that growth of 615 million? Finally, Chair, while I agree, that will be my final question, Governor, that you have paid this outstanding 20 million, 693,721. I think you have said you have paid over 10 million. While the question should be, this is budgeted money, it was remitted, somebody misappropriated. So even as you prepare and say it is historical, as you prepare to pay, who are these people who evaded? Because this was stealing from the employees. If you today, and I think there is a law that are saying that governors will get pension, if I'm right, and an MCS. If today you have been remitting, after you finish your 2-term, because everywhere is 2-term, you go home and you wanted to go and claim, and then somebody tells your lab trust, you know, Governor, it was never remitted. That means it has been stolen. So where is the officers who averted or stole 20 million? I know it's not good music for Senator Sifuna. 20 million, 693,721. While the payment plan is there, what about the officers who ate this money? Because this is statutory remittance, it was never given. So the correct language should, they stole that 20 million. So where are these officers? What did you do about it as the custodian of the interest of the people of Tharaka Nithi? I yield back the mic. That will be my 3 questions.
Governor?
You know, Chair, as I answer the question to Senator Charigai, you know that language of money was stolen, where are the thieves? It's what makes us engagement sometimes a bit difficult.
Governor, I think if you can respond, then if you provide a satisfactory response, we can expunge that from the record.
Absolutely, Chair. I have made it very clear in my explanation that under the old constitution, when we took over from de facto authority in 2013, which of course there was a transition, and then the transition authority was involved in handing over most of the records, which up to today, most of them, of course, including properties, have not been handed over properly. And one of those is the debts. However, since then, it has come to attention that we owed deductions that were made in the de facto authorities, which were 3 in Tharaka Nithi. There was the Municipal Council of Chuka, there was Meru County Council, and there was Chogoria Town Chogoria Town Council. That the employees were not paid a remittance of 20 million, which I've said, because this was historical, we negotiated with Lab Trust to pay that in installments, which we have already given you in annexes, what we had said, what we negotiated. And then out of that 20, we have already paid 13, and we are remaining with a balance of about 7 or 6 point something, which we have provided the budget, and it is evident there, that will eventually clear that debt. On this other one of the balance from the 150, Chair, I want to put it on record. If there's any employee from Tharaka Nithi County in the dispensation between 2013 and 2026 who have checked with their pension funds and their money has not been remitted, I would like them to bring it to attention, because we religiously remit employees' deductions to the authorities as per se. Most of the employees who are in Lab Trust, we have since moved them to the county pension fund, and we do not have, if we have any arrears, it must be the historical, which we are already paying as negotiated. But we do not have any statutory deductions that have been deducted and not remitted to the county employees of Tharaka Nithi, except that historical one. Chair.
Auditor, you could please give us that assurance, either now or in your next audit cycle, so that we are sure, we are clear that we are dealing only with historical matters.
Thanks, Chair. We are going to check during the ongoing audit.
And I think just to contextualize what Senator Cherargei was saying, these pension deductions, they were deducted from staff then, but not remitted. That's the context from which Senator Cherargei is speaking. And obviously, that is theft. What the auditor will assure us on is whether that practice of the past is still continuing or it has stopped. So I think we don't need to be too sensitive about it, because what he has described is accurate. If they were deducted then and not sent to the funds, then the money was misappropriated. But I think from your submission, it is a historic matter. It is not a current and ongoing matter.
Chair, if I put 2 questions with your indulgence, is this Governor, I've seen, just let me take you back a bit. In this, you had paid 502,567,603 pending bill you have paid. There is a balance of 380 million and 004,075 to be paid in the next financial year. My only concern is the year under review. The argument of the OAG was that there were 150 million, 504,534 that it was long outstanding. So my concern, where is the schedule in this payment of 502 million that you have cleared this 150 million plus, so that that audit remains unresolved? Because the OAG will tell you, if you don't show the evidence or how, whether you are paid this, it will reappear in next subsequential years as unresolved matter. So my concern is where is the proof to show payment of 150 million as queried? And finally, is this under 1 year, there is an exponential growth of 615 million. Is it multi-year projects? Is it late exchequer releases? What is it growing this within 1 year? You are almost approaching 615 million plus within 1 year on pending bill. And we know Tharaka, I don't know, Chair, whether it was among other counties that like Isiolo, Lamu, I don't know whether it was among that we were pushing for more funds.
Yes. We have always given special dispensation to Tharaka Nithi.
In fact, Governor, we added extra dispensation courtesy of Nairobi, Nandi, and the rest, because we want to grow at par in terms of development. So, can you assuade so that when Senator Mwenda Kataya Mofai approaches the House again, can convince us that this money has been used in the right way? Thank you, Chair Yilba.
I think you brought it to an important point. In the last formula, was it in Kara or in affirmative? How much money did we ring fence for Tharaka Nithi? Just go on record.
100, Chair, and this year we have done 371.
371. Yeah. That ring fenced amount for the select counties.
For exactly 11 counties.
Now, Governor, as you respond to the specifics, there's also this matter that we must deal with. Our colleagues from 11 counties, 12 counties, convinced the rest of us that we set aside, was it 4.4 billion as affirmative action to some counties whose allocations were fairly low, and Tharaka Nithi was one of them. As a result of that effort, and this is why sometimes if you ask what your senator is doing in Nairobi, those are the kind of things your senator is doing for Tharaka Nithi when he sits in Nairobi. As a result, Tharaka Nithi got 400 million more, because we are the ones to determine the formula for allocation of resources. When debating this matter on the floor, we were all in agreement that if there is a special dispensation, this special allocation, perhaps it should prioritize settlement of pending bills or flagship projects. Now, Senator Tharaka Nithi, has there been any conversation on how this affirmative allocation to Tharaka Nithi can be used in a manner that changes the lives of the people? Because you had encouraged all the governors who are beneficiaries to find a way of ensuring that that special allocation can be, seen in some projects or can be seen in something substantive rather than going into operations.
Chair, I may not be party to having any kind of conversation, but I think I'm a privy to the fact that I've seen some flagship projects. I've seen the county do quite a number of bridges that have been having an ending to quite a number of people in some parts of Tharaka Nithi County. I think I did some, I commended the county for that exercise. I think I have seen some flagship projects on the ground. I've seen quite a number of bridges that are coming up for the last financial year.
But it's not directly related to that special...
I may not know because I'm not good with the budget process for the county, but I think something is being done on the ground.
Senator Amuruma?
Yeah, Chair, I would ask about the long outstanding payables.
Maybe before you... Are you tying it to that special allocation?
Yes, because you indicated that we could use that also to defray some pending bills.
Then you can proceed.
Yeah. Because I know we had about 371 million for that kitty to every county. And when I look at the 12 counties, if I look at the list of the long outstanding pending bills, and I'm looking, Chair, at page 57, I'm wondering what the challenge is, Governor, in paying some of these pending bills. On page 57, on the certificate, trade account payables, page 57.
That's your annexure of the financial statement.
Yes, that's the annexure. If you look at the last line, that is serial number 17. We have Mutindwa Enterprises, who owes the county 14,449. and that pending bill was incurred in 3rd September 2015. If you look at serial number 8, we have Total Hospital Solution Limited, pending bill that was incurred in 12th February 2015 of 28,750. Governor, what is the challenge of paying these pending bills now that we have that affirmative action kit in the 12 counties, the so-called small counties? Why can't we pay these pending bills?
Actually, on that page, Total Hospital Solution is owed a total of 4 million, which has been outstanding for 10 years. So, Governor, you'll respond. Senator Sifuna.
Yeah, Chair, and Governor, I hope you're noting that although sometimes you like to give us a bad name, we were persuaded by your senator and another 11 senators that given your financial standing, we needed to do something in terms of affirmative action. And that devil that you like to describe out there, the senator for Nairobi, accepted, much to the, disappointment of my own people here, because they think that I should grab everything for them. But one of the conversations we've been having with your colleagues about this extra amount, Governor, is to try and resolve some of these long-standing issues. And some of us, we were arguing with Mwenda Gataya during that debate that if we give this amount extra, what guarantees do we have that, one, it will not go into recurrent expenditure, that it will be used solely for development, that it will be used to deal with the questions of long outstanding pending bills? Because, Governor, we have passed a motion as a Senate, I think it was sponsored by the senator from Narok, Ledamo Lekina, that gave counties and county governments like yourself a period within which to settle these long outstanding pending bills, especially the small ones that we had put under 1 billion Kenya shillings. So we have seen some of your colleagues who are good enough to appear during your hiatus, and they were arguing with us here, Governor, that the Senate cannot ring-fence funds because we grow so frustrated. These people who counties owe money come to our office, people have been auctioned, people have committed suicide, and they say, Sifuna, you guys need to do something. The feeling in the Senate is that when we give this extra money, we feel like we need to tie your hands as governor so that it goes to these things. It goes to development and repayment of pending bills so that these Kenyans can stop coming to offices with all these cases. There was a curious one about UHC workers. You remember, Chair? The Council of Governor, the chair of your health committee, and I want to confirm here that we in the Senate had no role in selecting him as a chair of that committee. That they are your committees, you decide who sits on those committees. So he comes and he tells us that if we put that money for UHC workers under additional allocation, that somehow you guys or the Council of Governors cannot absorb the UHC workers under permanent and pensionable. It didn't make any sense to us because those UHC workers are always here. In fact, the day the chair of the council was here, they came blowing trumpets outside the Senate once again, saying you have refused to absorb them on permanent pensionable. But our feeling is, because of the frustration, we feel that we don't want to micromanage counties, but surely, Governor, something has to change. Something has to change. If we didn't say this 8 billion shillings is for UHC, you guys would find other work for it. And that is the fear that we have. So even this one, because you are one of the beneficiary counties and our bishop today is not here. You know, there was a story in the Bible of, I think there were, was it 10 lepers that were healed by Jesus? Or were they 9? You are the SDA chair. Or how many? And chair, there's only one who came back. Even in the case of these 12 counties, there's only one governor, the governor of Nyandarua, who has come here to the Senate to say, we appreciate what you did for the small counties. The rest of you, Your Excellency, and maybe you will take this opportunity this afternoon to say something nice for once, but the rest of you are very quiet. But we would hope, because you see, we are not looking for praise, we would hope that the extra amount that has gone to these counties addresses those specific long-standing issues. For instance, you've been pointed to outstanding bills from 2014, really honestly, Governor. Unless you are saying these amounts are not payable and they should no longer be on your books, there is absolutely no reason why somebody can be waiting for payment of 14,000 shillings from September of 2015. So you can address us on those, and we would also like to hear your perspective. If we give you these additional resources, why is it not possible to resolve some of these long-standing issues?
Governor?
Thank you very much. And Chair, allow me first to just to clarify to Senator Cheregai that the county is called Tharaka Nithi County, not Tharaka. Tharaka is a constituency in Tharaka Nithi County. So if you keep on talking about Tharaka County, it does not exist. It is Tharaka Nithi County. Secondly, Chair, the two issues that have been brought forth, I would wish to start with gratitude. That yes, we did have an affirmative action for, I think there are 12 counties. The county of Nyandarua came in a bit late in the day. I'm not saying they were not deserving, definitely they deserved, and maybe that's why they were a bit excited and said thank you. I want to be with the second one to say thank you.
You seem to be very familiar with this matter.
Yes, I do.
Okay, now.
So I want to thank you for that. And that was in the money that we received in the financial year that is now under audit review that is ongoing. So you are definitely going to see a lot of reports from the next appearance of senators, I mean not senators, but the auditor's report on what has happened during that time. We were very clear as a county, I don't want to speak about the others, that these monies will be used to do something substantive that the people of Tharaka Nithi can be able to see and say, yes, we can see what the extra funds have brought to the county. It is for that reason that we are doing 6 new bridges in Senator Gataya's constituency. You can affirm that. He must have heard, even if he has not seen, he must have heard from the wananchi what is being done on the same. But more important, which I will tie to the issue of the conditional grants, Chair, is that Tharaka Nithi County has been without a county headquarters for a very long time. It was among the 5 counties that the Senate passed that they should be given special allocation, which was supposed to be a conditional grant that was supposed to assist these 5 counties to set up new headquarters. And Chair, for almost 8 years, that money never used to come to the counties. It used to go to the Public Works Department, and they had issues in dealing with the contract on how to be able to finish the project. Chair, even when the directive was given by the Senate, because we appeal to you as Senate, this money should not go to Public Works again. It should be appropriated as a county government's additional allocation in the SIGA. This money were appropriated, and I can tell you, Chair, our experience with the conditional grant is they are exactly what they are called here. They are conditional. Some of the conditionals in law, but the others are in the unwritten laws. You must be familiar with circumstances where you appropriate the monies in SIGA. The head of state signs this into law, and therefore it is just the responsibility of the treasury to disperse the money. And for 3 consecutive years, Tharaka Nithi did not receive even a single coin from treasury for the county headquarters. And we made a decision as a county that the extra monies you've given us, we'll use that money to complete the headquarters. And right now it's complete. We are just waiting final touches and placing furniture, which will happen within the course of this month. And I'll make sure that some of the guests will invite to come and see the fruition of 13 years of very tough, hard work by both the Senate and the people of Tharaka Nithi being a reality is Senate, and in particular, starting with our Senator, and we can also bring guests from this committee. So that money is being put to good use. I want to put that at rest, and it will be evident in the next audit cycle. Now, on the issue of UHE staff, which Senator Sifuna has rightfully put, I would like to clarify that we have no objection to the absorption of UHC staff. Those staff were recruited by counties, but they were being paid by the national government for a very long time. Now the MOH insists on transferring the payroll to us, and the money is appropriated in conditional grant. The same conditional grant that I've given you the story about, that the money that is normally guaranteed in being with us is not conditional grants. It is money that you appropriate in DORA. Conditional grants sometimes come late, and that is evident, and you can see the disbursement. I can even give you the schedule that came out yesterday. Some of those monies were meant for last year. Now, if you give me a staff and you tell me I put their money in conditional grant, and you don't submit the money between June and December, you submit the money or release the money in January. Will that staff wait between June and January without a salary for the conditional grant to be released? Of course not. That is why we have said it is better for that money to be appropriated in DORA, because that is a sure way that it is included in every disbursement that is released every month. And the last question is, or rather the last concern is, that conditional grant has to be appropriated, it has to be brought into, the item has to be placed in the conditional grant schedule every year. And it has to be brought back to you, Chair, in Senate for you to debate and agree this is the conditional grant we're giving to the counties. Sometimes even you get late in passing these bills. Will the employees wait? Of course not. That is why we have said, let it be put in DORA. The only issue at hand is this has to be applied to the formula that is already passed. And when it's that money in lump sum, 8 point something billions, so is applied to the formula, some counties will lose, the small counties, including Tharaka Nithi. But look at the bigger picture. It may be an easier alternative than having zero and giving us employees without any monies to pay. Some governors have argued that the small counties will be losing, will be cushioned by the affirmative action, which of course is tantamount to giving in with one hand and taking with the right one. That you give us an affirmative action because we need the money, then you give us UHC staff and say you use that money to pay the UHC staff. While the bigger counties continue getting a bigger allocation because the formula will take away the small that was meant for the small counties and give it to the big counties because of the formula. That is where the concern is. So as Senator Sivuna can understand that my chair of health did not have any ill motives. We mean good for the UHC. We just want what is sustainable and for perpetuity, rather than just solve a problem for 1 year and the next year we are back to negotiating again. It cannot be a piecemeal. It has to be a problem sorted out permanently, Chair. Then lastly, on the issue of what Senator Cherargei, and I must commend him today, is very cordial.
That's his nature.
Well, let me not comment on that.
You know, when you become cantankerous, I always become cantankerous.
Order.
So if you keep your cool,
order. Let's not provoke each other. Yes. Okay, now proceed.
Chair, that one of the reasons why we have unnecessary pending bills, and Chair, and that should be reflected, and I would like the Auditor General to hear this. Probably the solution to this may come out of this meeting. When we have a budget, which includes a conditional grant, we always proceed to work based on that promised receivables, which will be the conditional grant, the equitable share, and the outsourced revenue. By the end of the financial year, when contractors have projects that are already done, they have certificates are waiting to be paid, and the money has not been released, either by the exchequer or the conditional grant has not been realized, that becomes automatically a pending bill. Unfortunately, the system that the Auditor General used and the Controller of Budget used to establish whether work has been done is on the payment of the work that is done. Well, it is true we have projects that have already been completed, they are awaiting payment, which of course the Auditor General did not realize that is work done. They only use the records to show that since this work has not been paid, then the work has not been done. It is normally a different story. The Mwananchi is enjoying the bridge that has been done. They are enjoying a dam that has already completed. They are enjoying a water project that has not been that has been completed. But the Auditor General will tell you that you've not met the threshold for what you should have spent in development. Well, you've already done the project. However, it is at the cost of the contractors who lend us the money to do the work, or rather who did the work and they're not being paid. So that is something that should be harmonized, so that if we have resources in good time, we definitely have no reason not to pay contractors in good time. As for the too small, and I'm not in any way demeaning them, it's that the amount is relatively low, 14 million, 4 million, not 14 million, but 14,000, sorry, for long outstanding debt of 2014. You've said there's one for Total Hospital Solutions for 2014 as well. I will not be evasive by saying in 2014, Chair, I was with you here in Continental House. I used to meet you there at the gym. But this commitment was done. It is supposed to be a trade payable by the current government.
Yes, you left National Assembly to go to Tharaka Nithi to fix this.
To go and pay debts.
Yes,
Chair.
yes. So tell us how you fixed it.
So, Chair,
maybe in addition, sorry, I think as you know, the issue was the querying of 150 million that they stayed over 4 years. So can the governor tie up with this that Senator Maruma has pointed out, so that I'm trying to look for that answer, because in his response he has paid over 500 million in pending bills. So where is this schedule that settles the 150 so that we resolve and look at the aging analysis? That's what we are looking for, Governor. Thank you.
In fact, this schedule even makes it better, because it now exposes debt greater than 10 years. You see in that table, it just says over 4 years. But here you are able to see the debt that is 10 years from 2014 is 12 years. Debt that is 12 years. I think that's where you are heading to.
Yes, the Chair was heading there. So we established pending bills committee that established the bills that were legit and that should be paid. And of course, we had bills that were not legit and therefore they're illicit and illegible. And Chair, we differed with the Auditor General on that position, because it is the same Auditor General who insists that all the documentation should be in place before you pay a pending bill. So you have work that was given verbally. It does not have all the documentations, and work was done all right. It is visible, but there are no papers that will enable us to account for how we paid that debt. That has been the long outstanding issue. Some of them, of course, do not completely exist, and that is what we call ghost projects of those years, and therefore it's not possible to pay. And unless, Chair, we agree with the auditors here that we pay without any documentation, then this matter will remain in record. If we agree today, we pay without any records, and there will be no questions asked by this committee or the Auditor General, we will pay tomorrow.
We cannot give those directions. You are the CEO. You've got a competent team around you. You are running a government. The minute you report to us in your financial statements that Total Hospital Solution is owed 6.8 million from 2014, the minute you make that disclosure, you're accepting liability. If your verification has established that these are fake bills, get them out of your books. Because how can it be there for 12 years? What magic is this? What is it that is being manufactured to validate it, if for 12 years it has not been validated? In accrual accounting, you are now required to bring your liabilities into the financial statement. So, Auditor, I do not think you'll be advising them to pay simply because it is listed here. We must advise them that if they found a debt to be unacceptable, cannot be supported, cannot be justified, it should not appear in the financial statements.
Chair, and in addition to that,
Honorable Chair, I think you are right in that when it is disclosed in the financial statements, that is the statement of financial position, that trade account payables, there's a balance of 882 million. What it means is that, one, there's ownership. They are accepting that they own them, that those bills exist, they belong to them. So the issue of making a payment of a bill that is not supported does not come in. If they do so, then we will come back here with another issue of unsupported payments. Chair.
Yeah, so we cannot tell the auditor to do what you are suggesting. Senator Cherarke?
maybe now Governor is opening another trajectory. Then, Governor, what are you saying? Are there legible and illegible pending bills? Do you have I have seen your colleagues, they establish what you call verification committee. So does it mean, do you have any report or the committee have done? Then if some of this, what is listed in trade account in page 57, does it mean in your financial statements and your CC is here, was listed some of the pending bills that exist here, some of them could be ghost or ineligible to be paid? And for the benefit of the committee, when you did verification of the pending bill of trade payables, how much was eligible to be paid? And then the question will come, this payment that you have already made, how did you ensure that you paid the right pending bill? Now that you're arguing that some of this documentation vital for payment were missing. Which basis did you rely on? And I wish you would have attached even that report of verification of pending bills. Maybe would have existed as maybe your CC, or was there any verification committee? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Governor, I think...
Chair, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I am a monotonous voice from this side, Chair, and this man that I brought along with me, and sorry I didn't respond to Senator Visiolo. They didn't come for a joyride to Nairobi. I will delegate with your indulgence, Chair, that they help you to understand why we have suppliers like Motindo Enterprise, who is owed 14 million.
14,000.
14,000, sorry, 14,000.
Why are you obsessed with 14 million today?
Since 2015.
Yes, you know, Chair.
Or it is somewhere.
When I signed the VARAM and the budget, Chair, it's usually in billions. So sometimes when I'm speaking in matters of government, I always have that in mind, billions and millions.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
I think you've sought the indulgence of the chair. I will grant that. Who has a better explanation on why we have debt from 2013? 2013. If you go to page 2, there's another one for 2013.
I will
if you
ask,
go to subsequent pages, you find even debt to insurance companies. APA Insurance, I think that's
Chair, allow me to do
number
two things.
71.
Allow me to do two things, Chair. Allow me to rearrange my sitting, the sitting logistics, and ask the CFO to come and sit next to me, because now we are talking about matters that the CEC may not have interrogated, and let the CFO answer this.
But remember, this financial statement has got a part called Statement of Management Responsibility.
Correct.
It is signed by the CEC member for finance. He is the one who signs that the statements, financial statements, present a true and fair view of the enterprise.
Absolutely, Chair. But since we are looking for facts and talk about 2013, I would prefer that Dr. Duarte, the CFO, answer that question. Sometimes you let them off with what look like small things, but they continue doing these mistakes.
Okay, let's get that explanation. I think to avoid, unless it's absolutely necessary, we could just give him the mic. Yeah. So please just go specifically to your appendix there, which you have done well by listing for us the outstanding payables, and explain to us why you have debt from 2014, 2013.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to confirm, as what the governor has explained, it is true. We inherited some debts from the previous regime. In their financial statement for 2016-2017, those debts were there. And perhaps some of those documents were never handed over to the current office bearers. So, and you may not have that as a basis of writing off that debt, because you don't even have the document itself to say that actually the debt is illegit or it's not payable. So if we find some of these debts are 2015 and 17 and backwards, is one that we didn't get the document. And we are process, like we are saying, you have requested for the document from the department, but they have not produced the document. But again, I would not just come and expurge it from the financial statement, because again, the auditor will come and ask me, what is the ground for you to remove this from the financial statement? So that's the catch.
Are you looking at the schedule? Are you looking at the schedule? Because,
yes,
so, for example, because we cannot, this committee cannot be the one to tell you that don't pay because these things don't exist. You have disclosed them. You have reported them. You heard what the auditor said. The fact that you have it in your financial statement is almost an admission of liability. Since 2014, you have done financial statements 12 times. 12 times since that 2014. You can't carry the debt if it has no basis. But the minute you disclose it and even edge it, then it means that this guy will read your financial statements and he will be convinced that he has a legitimate claim against the county government.
Let me try this, Chair. In the same schedule, on page 71, I want to believe that you must have been an officer of the county in 2023. Not so?
Yes, I was.
You are there. Look at serial number 215. Makinya Auto Garage. A bill that was incurred on 23rd February 2023. Oh, that one has been paid, sorry. But Makinya Garage, 28th February 2023, 41,300 has not been paid. Do you have the documents? Serial 223, Permit Automobile Repairs. A billing card 12th March 2023, 29,000. Has that bill been paid? Do you have the documentation? Na hawa wale mechanics tu wa mtaani wadogo wadogo tu who would continue suffering if you don't make the right decisions to be paid. In pesa kidogo. Now here it's not an issue of documentation. It's an issue of mnataka kulipa mamtaki.
Chair, and I ask another question, the verification process, because you know Governor has gone on record and admitted that you are willing to pay, but there are some missing vital documentation. So I think if you had shown the OAG the process, you have verified those pending bills, you could use that as a plausible argument of not reflecting in your financial statement. So Chair, I will go back. So when you disclose in your financial statement CFO, and know that you are speaking because the governor is under oath, can you tell us what led to the process of this being paid, despite that your boss is admitting that there is some payment we are supposed to make, but they are, even you went ahead and called them ghost projects or missing vital documents. So where is it? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, so the CFO, please just give us factual, not hypothetical answers, just factual. Why you disclosed these debts and why you can't pay them, yet it's supposed to be a fast charge. Yes. 10-year-old debt is, even the governor's debt is just 2 months old. Your debt to the Senate of 500,000. But you are carrying 10-year-old debt. That cannot be acceptable by whatever explanation, because every year this Senate sends money to the county government of Tharaka Nithi. If it is not, and you call them eligible, if it is not eligible and you have gone through a process to determine them as being ineligible, get them off your financial statements. You said that there's no provision for dropping off or writing off the debt. It's not a write-off, really. It's just establishing that there is nothing to support this claim, and then you get it out of your financial statements. Auditor General, is that supposed to be subjected to a rigorous process, the right of process that is prescribed in the PFM?
Honorable Chair, having a committee to verify these payables was also a directive given by the National Treasury sometimes back, and it's very valid.
Correct. So why are you still keeping them here, saying that you can't justify them? And yet you have had the committee.
Chair, like we have explained, is that some of these pending bills, there could be there. Perhaps maybe you have just the PO and an invoice. But if you look at other procurement processes, including the delivery notes, they are not there. Actually, you do not have any ground even either to decline them entirely or to pay them. And that is what I'm saying, that's how we have a challenge, because missing those important documents, you're not able to make a very right decisions as to entirely remove them from your financials or pay them.
But you are a very indecisive officer. And if you need legal backing, go to a decision of the High Court in the matter of the National Youth Service. As a contractor took the NYS to court and came with, I think, 1 or 2 documents, procurement documents, the court gave very clear directives and gave a very clear ruling on what constitutes a valid contract. You must be decisive, Governor. I thought you're a decisive man. You must be decisive. If there's nothing to support a claim, get it off your books. Otherwise, when they are here, your officers are going to manufacture records and pay themselves. That's a point we are trying to make, that you can't have debt for 12 years in your book.
Chair, I will be handing over the mantle next year in August to another governor elected by the people of Tharaka Nithi. I want to assure this committee, and I'll prove that when I come back here, there will be no historical debts. I will deal with them, even if it means dealing with the staff in the process. And whichever decision we make, the only remedy would either be someone going to court or the Auditor General having a further query on why we expunge them. But we will make sure that there is fair administration of justice, because it is not right that somebody supplied things in 2013 and they're still owed by a county government, which definitely has capacity to pay, especially small figures like 12,500, 49,000. But allow me also, Chair, to note that some of these contractors here, like the ones for the garage, I have seen they are still contractors. So I don't understand how they are not paid a debt of 49,800 for 2023, and they are paid a current bill of maybe 500,000 of 2025, 2026. There is something I need to find out, why a small bill will be skipped and a bigger bill is paid. So that in admission, we will not let that happen, and my handover notes will not have any historical debt. Thank you, Chair.
Auditor, we had agreed in the morning, Patrick, that you'll also be querying the debt to revenue ratio, because in the PFM regulations, it is prescribed that it should not exceed 20%. As you can see here, it is far above the 20%. So that should be a standard report across the counties.
Chairman, in fact, we have already communicated with the directors in the region so that now that they're in their current assignment, they should be able to implement that.
Okay. Now, honorable members, I know we had agreed that we would run this meeting up to 4 because of other engagements.
Chair.
Yes, Senator Amarumo.
You look like you want to conclude, but you went to the chapter on lawfulness and effectiveness, but you didn't look at the qualifying matters. How I really wish, Chair, because there's a paragraph I'm seeing here on a qualifying matter on unaccounted for contractors' retention money. There are many governments that are notorious in not really accounting for this money. Maybe I'd seek your indulgence before we close the meeting that we look briefly and test the response and status of implementation of this paragraph number 2 on unaccounted for contractors retention money, then maybe you can close it.
I think that's fair enough. Perhaps you could deal with that. And if there are other issues, remember the governor has not even paid the fine. We are giving him bonga points that he does not deserve. So he might need to come back after paying the fine.
Chair, I agree with the Vice Chair, but I wanted a clear, the governor has just made a commitment that during handing over notes after serving his 2 terms, he will ensure that there is no pending bill, which is a good thing. But there is a sticky matter that you didn't give direction on the verification and authenticity of some of those pending bills. Because one, even I remember there is a time, Chair, the OAG did verification of pending bills. There was also a directive from the National Treasury. I think it was in 2019 thereabout. There was a circular that went round. So we needed to be precise so that we are sure of what the governor will pay is authenticated and verified. And you have given a ruling in the NYS case. So can you give direction so that if it is the OAG to go further and verify the pending bill, it will be easier? And I agree that it is tied up with the retention money of the contractors. Maybe you can give a ruling on the verification of those pending bills.
I think on verification, we've been through this. There was the matter, was it in Kitale? Yes. Where the High Court again gave clear guidelines on what counties ought to do and made it clear that it's not the job of the Auditor General to verify. Or did I misinterpret it? It is a job of the county.
No, it's the OAG to verify. It's not the business of... you remember the governor of Trans Nzoia had appointed the former Ouko, the former OAG.
Oh, yes. It dissuaded the governors from setting up task forces.
Yes.
But to use internal resources and the Office of the Auditor General. Patrick, what has been the position of the OAG on that?
Chairman, I think the ruling in Kitale required that it was OAG to audit. The mandate to audit belongs to the Office of the Auditor General. But entities can have their own internal mechanisms to verify. Because it is them who have the records, like delivery notes, they have all these invoices within the entity. But the mandate to audit belongs to the Office of the Auditor General.
So audit comes at the end.
At the end.
But verification, determining that this is payable or not, that is a responsibility of the entity. Now, the problem you're going to have, Governor, which we have seen with what we usually call the Wamatangi law, and that is the Assumption to Office of Governor Act. A lot of bad things happen during that period. I think you're nodding your head as if you understand what goes on, especially where there's a transition. There's usually this committee that is comprised of people, including the county commissioner. I've seen they've done very bad things in some counties. That is where you find R1 billion worth of bills are introduced and handed over to the next governor. So you cannot afford to have 10, 12-year-old debt, because if you don't deal with it now, chances are that transitional window, people can do funny things and can introduce funny bills. In fact, members, we need to review that law so that we don't allow a committee comprised of national government, county, and all sorts of people to determine what pending bill to hand over from one government to the other. I think we need to look at it again. So please, make sure you deal with this before that point. Yes, Governor?
Chair, I'm familiar with that assumption of office committee. And just to shed light, Chair, this most of the times happens when a sitting governor has been defeated, especially if they don't get their second term. Most of them are usually not willing to be involved in the assumption of office, that handover, a smooth handover. And I can guarantee you in Tharaka Nithi, part of the pending bills we could be looking at, which I want to confirm, is on obnoxious demands by the committee on allowances that was sitting that time to be paid. I remember it was coming to almost 10 million after having sat for less than a week. And most of these bills I refused to pay. And it makes no sense. However, if you have, this is something I think should actually be in law. No governor should not be involved in handing over, whether you lose or you leave office after your term. it should be mandatory that they have to hand over, because it's the only way you can make sure that those sinister things are not done to the people who've been serving for the last either 5 years or 10 years because of a lacuna where there is nobody responsible. Because when the governor has left, the next governor is supposed to come in, they have not assumed office, and there's a committee here dealing with how their office will be assumed without any particular boss, except maybe the county secretary, who is usually not the chair. Then there's usually a problem. But just, by the way, not part of the responses, Chair.
Yeah, we can have, we can advise each other, the COG and Senate, on how to change that law. Senator Sifuna.
But Senator, Chair, sometimes we feel like we want to over-legislate. It's just a question of also bad manners and political maturity, especially as a democracy. We've seen previous presidents in this republic, even in the face of very open hostility, in the face of humiliation, they still went over to hand over the instruments of power. So it's about sometimes political maturity and democratic maturity as a country, that we can't legislate every human behavior. And that's why some of these people, maybe they don't deserve to be in office, Chair. We are hoping that everyone who will lose the 2027 election will hand over peacefully. And they must come.
Okay, I think you need to be a literature student to understand Sifuna, because we are talking about numbers. He has taken us a completely different direction. Yeah, but the point is made, and I think, Governor, you and I and maybe all of us agree that maybe we need to review the scope or the function of that committee, what they can do and what they cannot do during that period of temporary, is it called temporary incumbency? Yeah, that period of temporary incumbency, we must limit the actions that they can take. Can we then deal with this other matter, perhaps as a last matter for today, in the interest of time, and then we will take a view on the issues remaining, whether the auditor can deal with them in the subsequent audit, or they might require a fresh visit to the Senate. So, Senator Mwaruma, you had brought my attention to unaccounted for contractors' retention money. Is that
Yes, Chair. That
okay.
is paragraph 2.
Auditor General, just read your finding and then we get the Governor's response.
Thank you, Chair. This is unaccounted for contractors' retention money. As previously reported, the statement of financial position and as disclosed in Note 15 to the financial statements reflects retentions account payables balance of Kenya shillings 107,949,605. However, the county executive's deposit bank account reflected a balance of Kenya shillings 29,848,571, resulting to an unexplained and unreconciled variance balance of Kenya shillings 78,101,034. This was contrary to Regulation 210(1)G of the Public Finance Management County Governments Regulations 2015, which provides that a public officer employed by a county government or a county government entity commits an offense of financial misconduct if, without lawful authority, the officer fails to pay into a government bank account any public money entrusted to the officer or received by the officer for or on behalf of that government or that entity. In the circumstance, the accuracy and completeness of the retentions account payables balance of Kenya shillings 107,082,266 could not be confirmed.
Governor, you may respond.
Thank you.
We have skipped a few pages. Just let us know which page you are on.
Chair, we are on page 3.
Okay.
The management acknowledges reporting accounting payables, that is retentions, amounting to Kenya shillings 107,082,266 as at 30th June 2025. The reported deficit on amount held in deposit account vis-a-vis account payables with cash book balance of Kenya shillings 29,848,571 against the retention withheld of Kenya shillings 107,082,266 resulting to a deficit of Kenya shillings 77,233,695 is attributed to amount withheld from the contractors and not yet transferred to deposit account. During the financial year 2017-2018 and 2018-2019, the county executive transferred to county revenue fund, and that is CRF, together with unspent balances, an amount of Kenya shillings 4,924,196 and Kenya shillings 36,945,208 and 65 respectively, totaling to a total of Kenya shillings 41,869,404 and 75 cents. Further, during the formative year of the county operations, retention money was never put under a separate bank account that led us to where we are today, Chair, to funds being utilized under operations. That is an unfortunate situation, Chair.
Auditor General, what's your take on that?
Honorable Chair, in this response, we can see it is stated that a certain amount has already been transferred, but there is no document attached. But this is a matter we can verify in the ongoing audit. Chair.
Honorable members, I think we have dealt with these issues of retention, I think just yesterday, and in Nandi, in Vihiga, and several other entities. Senator Cherarke.
Chair and Governor, you know, it's like statutory deductions. This is the money that has been paid for, budgeted for, and it belongs to contractors. What happens when the period provided for contractors expire? Where do you get the money to pay? Because if it is not there, and this is a lot of money, Governor, this is 78,101,034 of the retention that belongs to contractors. Because if it is not in the account, it was eaten. It is as simple as that. And there are many things you can eat, food and money. Chair, this is the direct, because this is the money you take, you put in the account, and I've seen, Governor, just so that you prepare to answer, if you look at number 23 on your financial statements, you have indicated even the aging analysis of 1 to 2 years, over 4 years again. So my concern is, where is this money? Because, Governor, you cannot, and I've not seen you attached to show that transfer. I don't know why the OAG Ongwen was quick to say we'll have a view. I thought this is the money that was paid, approved, it was budgeted for. So where will you get it?
Yeah, Chair, can I respond to that?
Yes, Governor.
Yeah, Senator Cherarke, thank you. And there's no eating. Money cannot be eaten. When we have clarified correctly, and I would even point out where the mistake is, that this money was swept back to the CRF after the end of the financial year, where you are supposed to ensure that the retention money stays in the retention account, or the money in the SPA account is supposed to stay in the SPA account. What remains in the CRF should say in CRF. But in this case, Chair.
Just with your indulgence, Governor, I have CRF. Where is it, so that you tie up your
Yes, this in 2019, 2017, 2018, and 20.
It's not here.
No, it is 2019, 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019, where the CEC made a mistake and swept all the money back to CRF. Of course, when it went back to CRF, the process of bringing it back to the retention account has been an uphill task. We have made 2 attempts, which I can provide the evidence given time, Chair, that we made a requisition because we wanted to pay that in batches of 41 million to the controller of budget to allow us to pay back to the retention account. And the controller of budget insisted that we must pay the full amount of 78,000, meaning we have to move a 78 million from the CRF to the retention account. And that is what has not been done, Chair, but the money did not get lost because it is still in the CRF and probably used to for a different purpose. But we have since then, in this budget that we've just done an appropriation and budgeted 78 million so that we have only one request from the control of budget to put back the money in the retention account. As to whether they are contractors not being paid, we have just been lucky because we have multi-year projects like the tarmacking of roads that are almost, some of them are having a lifespan of about 5 years or so, and the retention money cannot be paid until the completion of the last kilometer because they are paid by milestone. And eventually the contract, we must look at the whole contract before we pay the retention, which means if we have any default in the first kilometer, even if it's for 5 years, they still have to make good before they are paid. That is why we've been lucky. However, most of those projects are coming to completion, and we must ensure that this financial year, that 78 million is there, so that we'll be able to pay the retention for those contractors. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Sifuna?
I really suspect, Governor, if we had the documentation about the specific projects for which this money was retained, you would have some difficulty, because I don't believe that story that 7 years down the line, which road is this that the county is building that has taken 7 years, Governor?
Let me clarify that, Senator Sifuna.
I'm being told it's the road to Singapore.
No, yeah, Chair, I didn't say that we have the roads were for 2018, 2019. I just said that when the money was swept back to CRF, definitely we had a deficit because the retention account did not have that money. Then I said we are lucky in that consequently there are some projects that are multi-year that don't require.
Yeah, I followed that bit, Governor.
Yes,
you gave
yes.
a specific example of
Yes.
roads. And just to clear our doubts, it would have been nice for us to see, and Auditor General, I'm sure you have that information somewhere, on these 77 million shillings, you can tell us the specific projects for which that amount was retained and whether indeed those projects are completed. And what happens when those contractors are not paid their retention after they are completed the project. Number two, your answer has only accounted for 41 million. Unless I missed something, there's a 36 million that you have not told us about. You have told us about 4.9 and 36 million totaling 41. Where is the other 36, Governor? How did it find itself to the CRF, or where did it go?
Governor?
Chair, can I have the CFO answer that question, please, with your indulgence?
Okay. Sergeant at Arms, give the CFO the mic.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, like we have explained on the last paragraph, is that this deposit account was actually opened in 2018 when he came to office. Previously, there were money which were retained from contractors' retentions money, but was not transferred to a deposit account because it was not even there in the first place. So this is an inherited problem that we also got it, that previously they had that in retentions, but again, when this contract ended, as the current office bearers, we had an obligation to pay them, despite the fact that the money was not available at that time. This account is self-generating account. As we speak today, this account has over 60 million from the current project. So again, we're able to meet the current obligations.
Point of order, Chair. Would you allow a witness to mislead us? I thought we are discussing about 78 is we agree other retentions could be paid to the retention account, which is not problem, but we are asking where 78. Why is this guy trying to be clever? Half clever.
Okay, can you just be a
We
little
want,
bit,
Chair, we want to
direct
know
to the questions?
where 78 million meant for retention under those projects that the governor has said. It is as simple as that. We don't want to know we will ask in subsequent financial year under the review. Kama iligulwa, unasema iligulwa. We leave it there.
Okay, CFO, if you are specific, you will make your life easier.
Chair, let
Governor?
me attempt to assist the CFO. I will ask him to breathe easy, breathe in and breathe out, because he seems to be speaking very fast. Chair, he has brought up a very pertinent issue, and That is a fact, and I would like the Auditor General to, because the records speak for themselves, to find out whether Tharaka Nithi had any retention account in the year, by the year 2017 August. We are reporting to you, Chair, between 2013 and 2017, Tharaka Nithi County did not have any retention account. That county did not exist. However, contractors did their work. The retention money definitely was deducted, and it was never remitted because there was no account. But Chair, it means that when we took office in 2017, all that money that contracts were owed, we had to pay. And therefore, we had to pay them using retention of that had been taken from others. That is why we said we need to make good. Probably what needs to be done, Chair, is to go back to the contracts of those years and find out what exactly happened between 2013 and 2017 when we didn't have a retention account. How was that money supposed to be paid to the contractors? That is a deficit. 41 million was swept back to the retention account, to the CRF, which we can provide the evidence, which if we encourage you to be able to do that. You can give a timeline, that's not a problem, Chair, if you can allow. But about 33 million is historical, because we are supposed to pay contractors who retention money was not provided. That is why we asked that we appropriate money, and we have done that now, to allow the control of budget, allow us to pay the full 78 million. Because we cannot tell the contractors that there was no retention account between 13 and 17, and therefore we will not pay you. Thank you, Chair.
So what I hear from the executive is guilty as charged, but you are taking some measures to rectify.
Chair, as a government from 2013 to 2026, guilty as charged. As Muthomi Njuki, no guilt, because I am taking responsibility of historical injustice. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, is it possible for auditor to give us the schedule of the projects whose retentions?
Honorable Chair, there's an analysis
and give us which one? Where's the analysis?
There's a schedule attached on contractor retention.
Yes.
But it starts from 8th of October 2018. What auditor you must tell us, perhaps just to split things, the historical problems and the current situation. So the governor has given a long presentation on the problem in the past, but is it persisting? Is it a persistent problem that right now they retain and the money goes to CRF instead of a dedicated account?
And then, Chair, they should also, the OAG should have sight of that movement from retention deposits account back to CRF, because no one is showing us, we are flying blind.
Yes. So, Auditor, is it a persistent problem?
Honorable Chair, most of the issues are old, but I cannot say they are particularly persistent if you look at, if you do the analysis of the retention money. So it's an issue we are following up every year, so whether it moves up or...
OAG, so you are saying this 78 was before 2017?
I cannot say so. There's an analysis of that figure for the years it relates to.
OAG, this is what we need from you.
Yes.
We want to see the problem of the prior years separated from the situation of the current administration. The governor says he found there was no retention account. He established it. Since he established it, has he been ring-fencing retention monies as required by law so that we can hold him to account on that?
Honorable Chair, not fully.
So it is persistent?
It's recurring, Chair.
Chair, don't take, Chair, rhetorical arguments by by Auditor General. Let him provide evidence.
No, the evidence is for you to provide. He just looks at a sample of your
Chair, that brings me to a pertinent question.
And he gives us he forms an opinion and gives us an assurance as Parliament.
And it's possible to provide a schedule. If the control of budget, yes, has approved a payment of a project, maybe 10 million, then 90% is paid and 10% is retained. You can see that movement. With
Even
a statement.
on the CRF.
Yes,
Yeah,
from the
movement.
CRF and then to the
Because
account,
Governor,
the
sorry.
special purpose vehicle account.
So, sorry, Vice Chair, because the governor, through the chair, you have insisted there was movement. Because there was no account, then you moved back to CRF. So why is it hard to provide that evidence of that movement? I thought it's something within your purview. Because the work of the OAG is to see as they are, wash their hands like Pontius Pilate, and then leave the rest to take the process.
Absolutely. Chair, can I answer that?
Yes.
I will ask you, Chair.
Just a minute, Senator Gata, you had sought.
There is something, Chair, that the auditor just highlighted. I thought maybe it's how rampant is the exercise now that we are dealing with historical issues, now that you think this exercise is still on. How rampant, the level of frequency.
Honorable Chair, we may request that we look at this matter more seriously. We have auditors doing this thing now. Then we report back on the current situation.
Okay.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Governor, what did you want to say?
I wanted to say this, Chair, because you need to be fair in the administration of justice. Let the Auditor General show us whether we had any retention account from 2013 to 2017 and why they did not query. Secondly, Chair, I'm ready to take the bullet. If any retention money has been retained in Tharaka Nithi County from a contractor between 2017 August to date, and it has left that retention account for any other destination except payment to the contractor, Chair, I'm ready to take the bullet.
Very good. We shall hold you to account on that. Those are submissions made under oath. Auditor General, please scrutinize this matter further so that we are able to separate the historical problems from the current proceedings.
Thanks,
Chair. As Chair, also to track that movement to CRF account as said by the governor.
Yes,
so that we are sure that retention money is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, members, we will have to pause at this point. We had agreed that we would deal with a few substantive matters because otherwise, procedurally, this meeting ought not to have gone on. But I do hope that it has been useful to the delegation and also to the people of Tharaka Nithi. And I think we must confirm that we must do the job that the public has entrusted us to do. We might not be in the same political parties. We might not be friends. We might not like each other, but we have to do the job that the Constitution requires us to do. We shall do it fairly, firmly, and without prejudice. Honourable members, we now will go to the closing remarks. In terms of how we are proceeding, we will require the governor to settle the fine because we just were lenient to go into substantive matters pending the payment of the fine. Clerks, you will do very, very clear communication to the rest of the governors that fines will not be paid on the morning of the meeting. They need to pay the fines well in advance, as per the correspondences that we sent. And yesterday we discussed what the consequences of non-payment of the fine are. If that persists, then we shall refer to those consequences. I'll ask the governor to make his closing remarks. You have noticed we may have dealt with just about 3 or 4 issues, but they are significant issues. There are quite a number of things there that relate to projects. Others relate to bookkeeping that can be dealt with at the next audit cycle. But when we retreat to write our report, we shall give further directions on whether we require you before the committee or whether the Auditor General can deal with things in the 2025-2026 audit. Governor?
Thank you, Chair, and I want to pass my gratitude from myself and the team on behalf of the people of Tharaka Nithi for hearing us today, despite the fact that I did not pay the fine. And thank you for realizing that we don't always have money in our pockets. Actually, Chair, I need to go and make a small arrangement on how to get that money. I have to take an overdraft. since you said it is personal, despite the fact that this is appearance on behalf of the people.
I think you're still a member of the Bunge Sacco. We can be your guarantors.
That is true,
we can
Chair.
circulate the form.
That is true, Chair, but I'm on counting on that money so that eventually I can be pensionable from Bunge. Please don't touch it for now. I will look for another way of getting the money and paying for the fine. Of course, it's not fair that we charge the Mwananchi of Tharaka Nithi County because I'm the one who did not appear, although it was on their behalf. The rest is just details which I did not need to diverge in this particular meeting. Chair, on the issues that you've given directive, there are some issues that looks like vicious. Maybe we are going through a vicious cycle. The issue of historical pending bills, we have to bring it to a close. And I have told my team in no certain terms that has to come to a close. It can never be business as usual where we come to Senate, audit issues are brought up, and my people go back and sit easy and wait for the next audit cycle, as if the matter ends here. I want to promise it does not end here, and I'll deal with every department, and wherever they are, I want them to hear me, that we'll deal with every department to make sure that people are all held accountable for their own audit queries, because they have 14 departments. I only have Department of Finance here, which who are answering questions and carrying the load of the whole county. All the other executives are maybe sitting somewhere easy, just watching. The harassment sometimes we get, even though today we never got any. And thank you for the cordial engagement. And this is what we'll be looking forward to as a Council of Governors, where we can have meaningful conversation that can enable us to have meaningful oversight so that we can correct the mistakes that are there. And because human is to error, or is it error is to human? It is human is to error. We will encourage to rectify. We don't have to come back to you for the same issues all the time. Otherwise, thank you very much. Even as we leave here today, we will not say that we are perfect, but we will ensure and endure to have a very meaningful or handover that has got accountability at the end of our term, which is coming in the next 1 year. Thank you, Chair.
So we'll donate our closing remarks to Senator Cherarke.
Just 1 minute.
And then Senator Gataya.
So that we donate. Mine is, I wish, Chair, we request that on the part, because largely we have left out because of the issue of projects, Chair, like roads in Kambandi, Tunyai, Ndagani Market, Isingara Bridge, unoccupied deputy governors, residents, and other projects which will remain unresolved. I had proposed, Chair, if it is not too much to us, that when we are doing the region of formerly central Kenya, where Tharaka Nithi County is, we should visit these projects so that we get meaningful engagement. I wish we go to Tharaka Nithi County so that we can look at these projects so that the people of Tharaka Nithi and the Senator, we can see the value of most of these projects. So, Chair, as we go, kindly we should include Tharaka Nithi County as part of the projects. And of course, we should visit the headquarters that has been done for the last 10 years. I thank you, Chair.
Yeah, actually that headquarter thing, you remember in the morning we had Kajiado stuck with a headquarter. We went to Isiolo. They were also stuck with a headquarter. I think we need to look at that matter properly. We need to look at it properly because it's becoming a sticky issue. I'm glad that, Governor, you're saying that the 300 million will be accounted for in the county headquarter. And I hope that in the next cycle, the additional 300 million can go to a hospital or can go to something else that provides service, so that we are not saying that we're just investing in the comfort of the leaders. We can use that money for something service-oriented. Mofaya, closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, before I forget, dispel some rumors that that I have captioned maybe from some social medias that we have had some funding from the national government to complete our county headquarters. I don't remember at any given time for the last 4 years that I've been around, national government funding Tharaka Nithi county headquarters. And I want to congratulate the governor for showing up today. You have done a good job for the last few years. County headquarters is now complete. Governor, which has been historically neglected for quite some time. Governor and your team, I also want to extend my gratitude to my fellow senators in the House because we have been fighting for so many things, especially for those counties that have been neglected, especially Tharaka Nithi County, having been captioned as one of the counties that gets very little money, maybe Lamu and Nyahururu and so many other counties, Nyandarua, sorry. And I have put out my case on a number of occasions, and I want to thank my chair, Kajwang, and very many other senators for agreeing to capture Tharaka Nithi as among the counties that are supposed to benefit from the affirmative action money. Governor, I want to thank you because I've seen quite a number of projects. Not even, I've been there personally. I've been to Makatam Bridge, I've been to Mpukum Bridge, I've been to Kandatu Bridge, I've been to Gachogini, Gachiongo Bridge that we are doing. I think that is something that's supposed to be commendable, maybe for those people who are supposed to consume those services down in our county. Thank you today for showing up. Today the meeting was calm and very orderly. We have so many cases that have not been captured. I hope next time when we get time, we are going to go through so many other projects that I think you are taking. And I'm happy because you have committed yourself that the next time when you appear before this committee, we shall not have issues to do with pending bills. I think the auditor, you are supposed now to guide the governor or any other arrangement for that matter so that you can have these things expunged from the records, because we can't have people who counties, maybe they don't have the relevant documents, there is no eligibility to pay. I know the governor, what the governor is saying, and I'm surprised that governor for 2013, 2017, we have never under a retention account for contractors. I'm happy because maybe you have put those things into order. I hope once you hand over next year, maybe because you have done your 2 term, we shall have a very smooth transition to the next regime. So I'm happy, Chair, on behalf of my team, we shall continue supporting counties and devolution for that matter. And I'm happy the stalemate that was there between the governors and the Senate has been addressed. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Chair, today for having this meeting conducted in a very orderly and sober manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gataya. That brings us to the end of our meeting today. At exactly 5 o'clock, we shall adjourn. The committee meets on Monday at 9 at 9 a.m. The meeting is adjourned. We wish you a safe journey back home.